This goes to you, Bill. As Congressman, how will you help our transportation issues?
Okay. There are a number of issues there. First one is fuel. There's no secret that this district has benefited enormously in the short term from the boom in corn prices that are driven by ethanol. It is also no secret to most of the farmers out there that the ethanol, the biofuels ethanol, is not really a long-term solution to our gasoline and energy problems. It barely wins on paying back the energy that's invested into it. There are lots of alternatives out there, the so-called cellulosic ethanol, where you use not only the grain but the full body of the corn or the bamboo-like grass that you use. And these have an energy payback instead of 1.3 to 1 is 16 to 1. And so it's enormously better if it works, but it's not completely clear it's going to work. And so there is no substitute for having technical knowledge in Congress to look through the forest of potential R&D on energy independence that is presented by us. You can go through the long list of proposals. How cheap are windmills ever really going to be? Does geothermal have a chance? There's some very promising work out of MIT that indicates you could drill a hole almost anywhere in the United States and make electricity for a competitive price for the next 10,000 years based on very modern oil drilling technology with steerable bits. The numbers, the way you analyze that is you look at the scientific facts behind it, you look at the economic reality of it, and then you make a bet as a congressman that this is a technology we should invest in. And there is no substitute for having a Congress with the best technological and economic sense and business sense that we can. And here, I guess I do disagree with Mr. Lash. I think there's a real merit in having technical and economic sense in Congress.
John?
Okay. Well, thanks for giving me the opportunity to respond. I want to go back briefly and address the other question about publicly financed campaigns infringing upon free speech. Because the way the law in Arizona works, it says that you can be a clean elections candidate, or you can take money from private institutions, from political action committees, from special interest groups. But if you raise this much as a clean elections candidate, and this much is raised by your opponent, who takes money from oil companies and special interest groups, the public fund matches it. So they're on a level playing field. So they have to compete. So candidates have to compete on their ideas. It does not infringe upon free speech because certainly you can run as a candidate that is willing to be bought off. Secondly, windmills are very popular. And there's some out in Paw Paw in this district that generate $500,000 per year. And some Japanese people bought those up, and they make a good amount of money. The question, though, was about transportation. I want to let you know that I am working right now with Robin Sutcliffe and other members of the Department of Transportation in Yorkville to make sure that we widen Route 47. We use the money that was earmarked for Dennis Hastert's highway to widen local existing roads and make sure that we have traffic congestion relief on the existing roads for the existing communities here already, because growth has already started to slow. I'm a carpenter, I know. The other thing that we need to do is we need to, at a national level, move to more public transportation, an intercontinental railroad system. This is one of the fundamental disagreements between the progressives and the Blue Dogs. They do not want to continue to invest in our country as a whole. I think that we need to invest in our country, especially when it comes to environment, and I hope we talk about environment as our next question.
There was a request to respond.
I didn't get to speak.
Speak first, and you can respond. That's fine.
Okay. What was the question? So will you reread the question for me?
As Congressperson, what would you do to help us with transportation issues in Kane County?
In Kane County?
Kane
Okay.
County.
These guys got lost on a lot of different things. If you're interested about global warming and energy issues, look at my website, 10-point plan, probably the strongest in the country. I won't talk about that of any candidate, not just in this election. I want to talk about biofuels, wind energy, all that stuff. So this was about traffic. This was about traffic and transportation.
Right.
As a lawyer, somebody who has worked and compromised many times with lots of egos, to get deals done. I'm the right person to be able to go as a junior congressperson to Washington to try to bring the money back for this district so we can actually better the transportation system here. You need somebody who can work, first of all, we'll have a Democratic majority, and somebody who can work there in that Democratic majority to negotiate, to talk, to compromise, to bring money back, which is what we need to do. Kane and Kendall counties, we asked about Kane, are some of the largest growing counties in the country. We have real infrastructure issues. We need to build more roads. We do need to build more bridges, and we do need to have better public transport. And that depends in part on state funding, but it depends on a large part on federal funding. So I will work with local community leaders, because you have to work in Washington with the other Congress people and the Democratic majority and the leaders, and you have to work with local leaders as well to get funding from the federal government to do best I can to help out the transportation system here. Because a lot of the actual building of the transport system, the design and the implementation is actually done on a local level and on a state level. So that's what I would do, and I'm the best person equipped to do that given my vast experience in compromising and negotiating deals and contracts.
Okay, very good. Mr. Foster, you want to do
Yeah.
get a minute rebuttal?
I won't even need that. Just as a minor point on the clean elections thing, the issue there is third-party expenditures. You know, the reason you need to have $5 million to win this election is that the NRCC is going to come in, an independent third party is going to come in and blast away with negative ads like we've never seen in this district. When the Republicans see the district is going down, that's what's going to happen. And you have to imagine a law that says, okay, third-party expenditures or related issue ads are not okay to broadcast by third parties. And that's a very tough thing to be able to do that and preserve the right of free speech. That is the toughest issue, to my mind, about these free election things. Otherwise, I am completely on board with them.
Okay, a minute rebuttal there, Jonathan?
Yes. I also, since I didn't address this issue particularly, I actually believe that Buckley versus Vallejo, the 1973 Supreme Court case that overrode the first attempt at election reform, was wrongly decided. So there has been a problem with the Supreme Court equating spending of dollars with free speech. I think that's a mistake from a jurisdictional point of view, from a legal point of view, but the Republicans put their people in power at the Supreme Court, and that's the view they're going to do. So we have to live with the reality. Bill is right. I actually believe that it's wrong and it's bad for our country that someone can spend $1 million or $5 million of his own money to buy himself an election, but that's the reality that we have to live with. I believe third-party spending is wrong. McCain-Feingold was right on that. The Supreme Court was wrong in its decision. The courts are wrong in the decision, but we have to live with that until we can either get those judges out, get a Democratic president in, Democratic senator, and get those judges out and reinterpret the law, or what we really need to do is a Supreme Court amendment I'm sorry, not a Supreme Court amendment, a constitutional amendment to deal with this issue, to overturn incorrect Supreme Court decisions.
Okay. John, you want to do a minute rebuttal on that, or you're good?
I used my last minute.
Okay.
My minute.
My name is John Lash. I approve this message.